I want to see if it does the flicker thing like it was doing before. Yeah, it was flickering before. I don't know why. It was just the connection was kind of looping and connecting and doing a thing. Hey, look, it looks like it's working now. That's the important part.
Okay,
so we are live. Cool. Awesome. So, ooh, that's going to be a fun question. Hey, Tom, is there a reason you use a WD purple? Well, there's going to be video on this. Therefore, we used purple. Also, I had the drives. So I actually had 6 of them, and 5 are good. So that's that part of the topic. So we'll cover that.
Should have come up with an elaborate riddle.
I should have come up with a more elaborate riddle. Like the bear is sticky. The bear is sticky. And I wish I don't really have a prize other than I'll call your name out if you do it. Where is that phrase, the bear is sticky, from? And what am I talking about? It's at least some of you have to have watched the show that's from. So anyways, welcome to Vlog Thursday episode, what is this, 147. I've done this a lot now. You know, people ask me like, hey, you seem kind of good at the video thing. I'm like, no, it's not that. It takes like anything. I've just done it, 147 vlogs and almost 1,000 videos later. And those are just the ones that got uploaded, not the ones that got scrapped. So it's all about practice. Anything I think people can get good at it, get good at it if you practice. And I just finished some of the absolute, what we refer to as death Thai. Like there's XXX hot when you ask for Thai food, and then there's when the owner makes you sign a waiver and videos you picking it up type of hot, and that's where we ordered at. So, hey, George Moody and Stuart, Silicon Valley it is. Yes, the bear is sticky. I'd play it, but then I'd have some HBO copyright trademark, blah, blah, blah. So, but yes, that's such a great show. I'm excited with the new season coming out. It's really amusing. So we got a hello from Denmark, and we've seen our friend from Vegas there, the Las Vegas vocalists. So Germany. Who else? Woohoo! Oh, and first off, we will, William, thank you for the $20. Thank you for your VPN. I was able to set up my peer-to-peer VPN from my home network from my office using my SG1100 at home. So awesome. Good to hear that, William, that you were able to get that going and set up. And thank you very much for the donation. I love kicking it off. Also, while, because why not say this once in a while? Smash the like button, do the usual YouTuber thing. So that's, it does help. We live in an algorithm-driven life, and, where at least if you participate in online life, it's algorithm-driven. Technically, it's all algorithm-driven, whether your algorithms are biological or driven by Google. So one way or another, there's some formula by which you do things and act a certain way. Just solve that problem, and that's how you win. Let's see. Ooh, I don't know what to do. I love the fact that I have Patreon thing and everything. I love those people. I don't know, like people say you should do extra for Patreon. I'm like, what's extra? I like to give everything away. I'm thankful for people that have a few extra dollars, but I don't want to walled garden my content in some way that it's inaccessible by people just because they may not have the funds to do it. So I'm trying to think of what I can do to help out people, and it does help me to have people on Patreon and keeps the channel going and keeps me motivated doing this stuff, but it also is a... thank you very much. And maybe that's just what it is if people find it helpful and they want to donate, that's wonderful. And, I'm trying to, it's not that I try to be as minimalist as possible when it comes to monetizing things. Like I don't want to, try to be one of those people that shells out a VPN customer every time they, hey, this is sponsored by blah, 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 VPN company. And I'm trying not to do that. I get those offers constantly and I've been turning them down, but I'm also in a position where I own a business. And although this does take up a lot of my time, my primary income is still my business. And I've talked about how much money I make on YouTube and things like that, but it still does not make the Tesla payments. So that's still where a lot of it comes from. Yeah. Proton VPN, I don't know that I truly love or hate any of the VPN companies. I mean, you're just pushing the level of trust down the road a little and blending your data in with everybody else's. Does Proton seem legit? Sure, but they all should seem legit. There's no way to tell whether or not they're not legit. There's just no No way to really vet them other than if you got time to fly out to their data center, meet all the people, and then also assure that those said people showed you everything about their data center. Then you can trust the VPN company, and then that's a maybe if they don't change policies the minute you walk away. So, let's see, I had mentioned, Matthew says, you mentioned in your firewall comparison video you're not a fan of the commercial firewalls. What do you think about the sandboxing function that they attempt to do to stop 0 days? Does PSN have this? So that's not exactly a firewall function. Sandboxing a 0 day. How do you do that? Well, you have to do it at the software level or have to know about the 0 day. And picture that. You can't really sandbox something you don't know about, right? So you'd have, that's more like marketing speak there, or I'd have to understand or see the example of how the methodology is by which they're doing it. But how do you sandbox a 0 day? If you have an unknown threat right now, let's say Bluekeep, which is actually a known threat because, by the way, there's a Metasploit framework for it. So there's a Metasploit module for Bluekeep. How are the firewalls using signatures to stop that? They would have to have known about it prior to make it effective, and they don't. If you don't know about it, therefore it's a 0 day, and well, how do you sandbox it with an unknown? And how do you sandbox everything coming in? Do you only allow known and trusted things to come through? Well, that becomes very complicated very quickly as well. So, yeah. Do I have experience with Viata and Vios? So Viata is the defunct project. Vios is the current project. It's a fork. And Viata is also what Edge OS was forked from. I have played around with it. It's neat. Matter of fact, someone from there reached out to me, asked me about doing videos, like someone from the foundation, which I thought was interesting, or the organization, I guess you say, not really foundation that runs it. Looks interesting, but I don't do enough that level network engineering that it would be worth my time to learn it and become proficient. Like, I played with it, looks cool, but anytime I do a video, it's because I'm using it. It's not like I just sat down, read the manual on pfSense, and then talked about pfSense. No, we use pfSense day in, day out. We do engineering projects with pfSense, network engineering projects all the time. Therefore, I'm speaking from my experience in actually implementing things, not just reading the manual pfSense, hence the reason you may say, hey, see, you know a lot about it. Yeah, this is from doing, not from reading. If I were to have clients that started needing me to be a network engineer with Vios and I was using it day in, day out, I would be able to do really good videos on it. I'm not. So not likely I'll do a video on it. So I think it's a good product. I've heard wonderful things about it. And the network engineers I've talked to that have run it, just they think it's the best thing ever. Wonderful. But I don't use it, so I can't be subjectively good about it. Yeah, experience and knowledgeable about making is key about making videos. Then yeah, and this is why people send me crap all the time and want me to review it. And I'm like, I don't use this. I mean, cool. Thank you for sending me crap, but like if I don't ever use it, it's really hard for me to review it. And I tried it. If you find, there's probably a couple of videos where I think someone sent me a couple one-off type of things, and I tested them. Like, they're bad videos. I didn't care for them, and I took, I think, 1 or 2 of them down. So I'm like, all they did was send me a product, some small thing, and I tried reviewing it. I'm like, I don't know, I don't care about this thing enough. And it shows in the video that I just, it's like, and it starts with an agreement early in YouTube days. Hey, if we send you this thing, will you review it? Oh, okay. And it turns out not. Now, when UniFi sends me stuff, and they haven't sent me anything in a while, but when they send me stuff, we're already using it. We were using UniFi, I think 2013 is when we started deploying their systems. So we were using UniFi for like a few years. They didn't find out about us until YouTube. So by the time we did YouTube videos about it, we were already a few years in to deploying the product. Then we started making YouTube videos after we're a few years in. Then UniFi started sending me stuff. So that was like how the arch of that occurred. And then lately they haven't sent me nothing. Maybe it's because I picked on them about them sending data. I don't know. Let's see. We use a WatchGuard Firebox at work. I was thinking of switching to Untangle at some point. I hated the WatchGuard firewalls. I really had a dislike for the company itself, too. We took over a client in 2007 or 8 that had WatchGuard. That was the first time I ran into experience them, and they had a Windows utility that you had to run. It was awful, and the previous IT person had taken the software installer and it was installed on their local computer, but it was corrupted, and it kept giving some type of DLL error, blah blah blah. So he's called WatchGuard, and they wanted to only sell us the software again, would not give it to us. Even though they had product support left on the firewalls, they wanted to sell us said software. And we're like, one, the software's awful because we had it working on, once we finally got it working, which we were able to get it working by fixing the DLL files and telling WatchGuard to go pound salt. We're not buying the software that only can be used to control your firewall. We're like, that's stupid. And I realized how awful the software is. Now, someone says they rewrote it and it looks better now. I don't know. I haven't really looked back at those firewalls since then. So, Synology NAS, 2 docking stations, and I put 6 terabytes inside of it. I use it mainly for Plex server. My question is, how do you know when you should update your NAS? Whenever there's an update. So, it should notify you when there's updates available, and if it does, then you should update it. So, whenever there's an update, keep them up to date. I don't know if that answers your question or not. Oh, yeah, do you mean hardware? I guess when you ship the hardware, well, when it won't do what you want it to do would be the answer for that, too. So let's see. Since I did mention I would be talking about this, I'm going to bring up something here. Does this work? Proxy chains. I did install proxy chains. Cool. Okay, and if this opens up, then I'll open it up. Once I get it logged in, I'll open it up here. I need to log into my house. There we go. I am going to finish reviewing this probably tomorrow. Don't save. This is the FreeNAS Mini 3.0e, which has the WD purples in it that you've seen in the video. So that's what this is right here. I'll be doing a review of this. Purples for one of two reasons. One, it's storing video, literally. It's got all the videos on there. But it's also because I had them. They were kind of just floating around here. And they were actually bought by a company that they were brought here for a project with a server, and the company went out of business. And we don't have any, we don't know what to do with them. So we quasi own it because it was dropped off here. So it's like, well, they're out of business now. They went bankrupt. There's nobody to talk to, so they never wanted their stuff. It's been here a year before we decided to use it. So it's kind of the story behind where that came from. So we have these in here now, and so I popped them in here. And it's running Plex, SyncThing, and Transmission. Now, this is one of those things. Like the purples are, like I said, 10 terabyte purples. And if you want to put a bunch of movies on there, cool. And the FreeNAS Mini E, cool, because it's super low wattage. The thing's idling with all the hard drives, everything in it, like at 38 watts. So it's really low wattage. But the problem I ran into is it won't do Plex at 4K. It does Plex at 1080 without a problem at all, but Plex at 4K, RAIDZ a struggle bus, man. It just kind of herky-jerky and barely streams. So that's the one downside. So when I do my review of it, I'll be talking about that. It's a great storage box. It's great, compact, lightweight, excellent backup box, maybe to an existing FreeNAS server. And it's kind of one of the big purposes is going to be replicating data to my house. But it's not fast when it comes to handling Plex. It just has a dual core, you heard that right, dual core Atom in it. So processor's a little slow on it, but it's pretty cool. It's a nice box overall. Like, it works well. It's super quiet. But I'm hopefully going to get a review of it done tomorrow. So let's see what else we have in here. Net data was removed from FreeNAS. It sure was, and I don't blame them because I guess there's some BST memory leaks on it, and it was causing some problems with FreeNAS, so they removed it. It's not their responsibility to fix net data because they're not the ones who coded it. They added it as a module. They removed it due to the fact that if you leave it running, you may exhaust memory, and then the system crashes. And of course, then the FreeNAS people end up with support forum problems for a module someone turned on, and that's exhausting memory. So it maybe they'll change their mind if they fix it. I do love the product, I won't lie, but yeah, I've run into some memory issues myself, and I updated it in my Linux servers that run it, and it seems to be much better, but apparently there's still a bug in FreeBSD, and I guess until they fix it, they had to take it out. So when it comes into production, maybe they'll have it in there. I don't know. That's a good question, though. What is transmission? Oh, that is for seeding all of your torrents. Like when you need to have the latest ISO for Ubuntu, you have to make sure you're running transmission, so it's up and running and well seeded. So, let's see. Let's see. What do you think of Gen 2 Ubiquity switches? I haven't got one yet. I might order one just to test it. They look pretty cool. They don't have. They said the. And we'll bring this up real quick. Gen 2 UniFi switch. Let's talk about them real quick here. I think they're kind of neat. So these are the Gen 2 switches here. They have a touchscreen. Cool. Where does it say this at? This I thought was interesting. They don't yet have, and I don't know when they're getting, but the next level routing. Will they get the layer 3 routing? I think that was an option on some of them, but I don't know when they're getting it. It says it's somewhere in here. Errors, throughput, blah, blah, blah. PSU, PoE, SFP. Right here. This is the part that bothers me. So do I order it now or do I wait? It says available in a future release of the software. That seems problematic to me. So you're saying you're going to support layer 3 eventually at some point. Okay. So I guess it's kind of cool, but I think the switches look cool. Like everything about them is pretty neat and whatnot. But yeah, the fact that they don't support it out of the box is interesting to me that they're not there yet. So I don't know if you have to load a beta of the controller or how that works. So what do you think about monitoring your own hosted services? I think you're using Shodan. I guess it depends what type of monitoring you're talking about. I use Zabbix for infrastructure monitoring and Shodan for if something changes, because obviously you have ports open on my forums, for example, but if a new port opens up, Shodan will alert me, and it would be a surprise to both me and Shodan that there's something new opening up. So there's that. Yeah, to seed ISOs, that's exactly why we have transmission on there. Yes, good old Plex. And, Plex is for where you take all the videos, like all these videos I create, and watch them again at home. There's a lot of videos you need replicated on there. Layer 3 is available to CLI, but will be added later to the controller. Okay, that's cool. That's one thing about Ubiquity. I love the fact that it's software-defined networking. We get new features, but I'd love a roadmap that was more concise. Like I know it's hard to do because you're talking about testing products and things like that, but still, a more concise roadmap on that would be wonderful if they had that. So, but hey, cool, it's coming. The switches look promising. I might order one just to have it. I like their stuff, and we talked about putting one in because that way when the layer 3 switching, I'll probably, if it's available through the command line, I'll probably play with it there because that's kind of interesting. And when you do these things at scale, that's going to be for inter-VLAN routing a popular feature. And it's got to be, I'm excited about that. That's a nice step up for the Ubiquity stack. Yeah, see, all these people are seeding ISOs with torrents. Exactly. What do you use for G Suite clients that need HIPAA compliance? I guess you need it depends on what they need exactly. Like you're talking about, do they need like a plugin like Zixmail and then you tie it to Outlook? I don't know that we have. I think all the HIPAA compliant ones are using because they always need Outlook. They're just buying it from Office 365. So it's not that you can't do HIPAA compliance with Gmail, but it's not as often. Usually because of whatever platform they're integrating, they end up going with Office 365 because of the whole platform integration. We have some insurance providers that the back end, the way they do their quote system, only ties in with Office 365. It's the only way they support it, either on-prem Exchange or Office 365 are your options. So they don't even have an option to go to G Suite, or they'd have to change their entire ERP platform that does their quoting, and they're not going to do that. So they usually, all of our compliance companies just are using things like Zixmail and Office 365 and Outlook. Oh, let's see. Greetings from Portugal. Awesome. The new PF blocker is amazing. I do like it. That's why I did a video on it. I'm really happy. The progress has been wonderful. Smash the like button. Thank you, Mike Occur. So I see 32 people have smashed it out of the 168 who have joined the live stream here. Get an eye patch for Parrot for your transmission ISOs. Yes. Someone from Parrot reached out to me, one of the developers, and we might be talking more. And I'll dive back into some more Parrot videos. I want to definitely get back into doing that. They marketed Layer 3 for the Gen 1 in the beginning. I thought I had seen that too, and maybe it just didn't make it in there. So, Cumulus Linux. I don't distro hop much, so I don't know. I use Linux as my daily driver to get my work done. Therefore, I don't change distros all the time if there's any risk of being unstable. That's why I use Pop! OS so much because, well, it's really stable. I used to use Ubuntu, and then I moved to Pop! OS because I like the polish on top of it. Because Pop! OS, though, under the hood is mostly Ubuntu with some polish on top. It's very, very stable, and stable matters because I have real work to do, not just play with OSs. How do you implement your customer when being an MSP when you let them sign a requirement like demanding using AV2FA? Do you let them sign a requirement plan? I don't understand that as a question. We do require them to use it, so that. Sometimes people don't listen to us, and we just document that they've declined our advice. We document it. You know what I mean? Hey, you said this. And not to... a new customer we're pitching right now may have a record for most CVEs found on their other external facing. I think there was 59 CVEs on their external facing. Everything is dated in this place, and they are slow to fix any of it. They are like, well, we haven't had a problem so far. I'm like, they have a mail server that hasn't been updated since 2013. I can't believe it hasn't been hacked. So yeah. Keeping the Pwnagotchi happy? Yep. So more Tesla videos on my to-do list because let me see, make sure there's nothing in here. So we can show this. So yes, I've been waiting because I wanted to do an overall on my Tesla, but part of the overall on my Tesla was what does it drive like covered in snow? And that's going to be a review. I may even get it done coming up soon because I kind of want to do a thorough, complete overview of the car. Everything about it, all the software versions, updates, all the feature updates it's went through and everything else. This is in my driveway here. It's covered in snow. So that's a, there's one more picture I want to share. This. So this is one of those questions people come up with about the car, about, okay, what about the battery? What is it like? Well, this little blue represents the unavailable power, but will be available when the battery warms up. So right now there's only 161 miles, but actually there's a little bit more because the battery's, a little bit over half charged, but this will be available once the battery warms up. So that way I can give a more thorough assessment. So I am working on some Tesla videos, so that's definitely a thing. I don't trust Ubiquiti. They seem shady. Then don't. I don't know what to say. They're of the companies out there, they're probably more forthcoming. Other than not having a clear roadmap at times, I'm going to say they're fairly forthcoming overall about their product. For being a company with $10 billion, we know more about them than some of the other companies. But anytime a company gets that big as publicly traded, there's going to be stuff you just don't know, and well, they're big, so that's a different thing. So, let's see. Cumulus Linux on Dell. Cumulus Linux on Dell switches at work and are very happy with. Cool. Ticking time bomb. I don't know what you're talking about. Batteries. They don't like the cold. No, they don't. Snola. Yes, for sure. Do you have a baseline for acquiring new customers? I mean, do you require them to follow your security? Yes. We push hard for our security best practices. We actually have a managed client that doesn't like 2FA, and they've been hacked a handful of times and had their Outlook accounts taken over. And we always just tell them the same thing while we send them the large bill for unscrewing things. And we tell them, if you ever want to avoid this, that suggestion we had that you keep declining of turning on 2FA because you think it's too inconvenient, would have solved this problem once again. And we move on. We send the bill and clean it up because we're good at it. So it's funny. Would I get the Tesla over a luxury car for now? Absolutely. I have owned a BMW, Jaguar, and I think BMW and Jaguar are only two luxury cars I own. Mostly, I've owned like a lot of domestic cars, like Ford trucks and Chevy trucks. You know, your average stuff. Well, they're popular here in Detroit, I should say. So, would I get another Tesla? Absolutely. It is still. I only got 7,000 miles on it, and I've now drove it all the way. I think we had it. It was like 9 degrees here the other day, so it's gotten not just like snowy, but actually cold, and not the coldest it'll get here, but 9 degrees is pretty cold, and I love the car. Like, it is the most practical car I've ever had. That's one of the reasons I'm still excited about it. Like, I thought I would like wane down and be because I'm critical of things, even if I really like them. I can still be very critical of anything I'll point out the flaws. But other than the fact that, yes, it does lose about 15, maybe 20%. It's hard to really say, but it does lose a lot of its range when you're cold. But part of the reason why is because of me turning on the heat on it all the time and cranking the heat up. And part of it was me seeing what would happen if I did that. So I wanted to melt all the snow off of all of it. So I just turned the heat on for like 30 minutes at full, and it melted the snow. But of course, that comes at the compromise of pulling battery. But the other side of that is it's plugged in. So I was trying it without it plugged in. And when I do it plugged in, I can go on my phone here and warm my car up because it's 33 out right now. And I'll just, before this live stream is over, I'll hit warm. And my car is plugged in here at my office. And it will be nice and toasty and still fully charged when I leave. So there's that. I never put a charger in. I might put a charger in my house, but I haven't yet, and I haven't needed it, so I only charge it here when I'm at the office, which means I go a couple days. If I don't come to work for a couple days, I go a couple days without charging it, which has been perfectly fine. Oh, let's see. I noticed OpenVPN in the command line for USG. Did you ever look into that? No, I'm not going to either. The command line in the USG, you can do, it's basically the same, a lot of the similar commands you're going to find in the Viata, which it was essentially somewhat forked from. But here's the problem. If you start configuring all that from the command line, the JSON file may overwrite or break that. So I just don't, there's people out there, you can find documentation on it, but I have no intentions of doing a video on it because, one, we already get enough calls that we turn down of people wanting us to customize their USG and program it. I'm just not going to do it because the history has been it's problematic. It's tricky to do, and troubleshooting it can be a pain in the butt because an update can come and break it. So in even UniFi's official stance, I think I've done a video on this, is they don't support modifying. They have one of their blog posts is it's not like an officially supported thing. So it's not something we're going to jump into either. Am I happy with SolarWinds? Sure. Oh, someone says, do you use a PSA? No. Happy with SolarWinds? Yes. As happy as you can be with your RMM tools. None of them are perfect. I was at the ConnectWise IT Nation event. Everyone's complaining about how much they hate the product. And then, of course, ConnectWise buys Continuum. And, of course, the top snarky comment, I think, on Twitter was, the best way to fix a broken product is to buy another broken product. Nobody likes any of them because you're trying to wrestle the Microsoft beast. Microsoft doesn't want to be wrestled. Therefore, all your tools are some hacky thing on top because they're not sanctioned by Microsoft per se. So Microsoft just keeps gallivanting around doing what they want, and your RMM tries to tame it. Good luck. So none of them are perfect. Let's see. Jags I-Pace was decent. Oh, can't wait for more companies to try electric. Yeah, the Porsche electric looks pretty awesome too. The Nissan Leaf is another electric. I actually looked at it. It looks like a pretty cool car. But I couldn't find a deal on one. I may still buy one for our office here, but I got to find one that's on sale because I don't want to pay full price because I don't want to buy a new one. And the problem with the old Nissan Leafs is they only have like 70-mile range. That's too short for our techs, even though they'd be bringing it back here every day. That's kind of, if they do a handful of stops and it's cold out here in Michigan, the car may run out of range at 70 miles. The newer Nissan Leafs have about a 200-mile range, which is perfect for our shop, but they're new, and I don't want to spend $35K on a car. Why not buy one I like buying cars that are slightly used generally. Save a lot of money. So there's that. The Tesla charges at 37 miles per hour here at the office, or a supercharger will charge it at about 500 mile an hour for the first 80% of the charge. How do you like RAIDZ 60 possible in FreeNAS? you don't do it the same in FreeNAS. There is, and I've talked about this, I think I have a whole video. If you type in, RAIDZ options and performance, there's a video, and there's a guy who's broke down all the details on it. You do VDEVs differently, so you can break down like a couple different RAIDZ VDEVs, but there's different performance points depending on how many hard drives you have and how many you group together to join them. So you can do 3 drives here, 3 drives here, and then interleave the drives together to create that, faster, like a RAID 10 style setup, or you can, as in 3 drives each, or you can do 2 drives each and do it interleave between there. There's a lot of different trade-offs on there, and maybe I think I did a talk on it already, but you can Google it and find some of the performance on there. So, do you know Enable from SolarWinds, and what do you think about that in comparison to what you're using? I think they are. I don't know this to be fact. But I hear from people they are trying to sunset on-premise deployments and want you to go with their cloud solution or SaaS solution. This is what I've been told by people. Enable is an on-premise solution. I don't use it. I like the SaaS solution for us, but I don't know. I don't see him pushing Enable. That marketing only does seem to push the SaaS solution, so I don't know. Maybe there's some truth to that. I've not really used it. I'm fine with the one we're using. Let's see. How do you separate your personal from your business budgeting finance? Completely separate bank accounts. I am, and I get an absolutely regular payroll check. My company is set up as an S-Corp, so I am a payrolled employee. Therefore, my business is here in a separate bank account. Actually, we have 3 bank accounts for the business. And in my personal, I get a check that I take to I don't even bank at the same bank. My personal isn't even at the same bank, therefore to avoid mistakes. So that's important actually for tax reasons, that you keep things very separate. Unless you like IRS questions. So it's very separate. What are my thoughts on the security of zero tier? It looks pretty solid. It's based on some very, very practical principles. They have only gone through some minor code review. They have not gone through a full-blown code audit, but they also have a very simple product in the way it works. So, I mean, maybe one day they'll have enough money to do it, but a code, you're looking 6 figures to have a crypto code audit. So I don't know if they make the kind of money as an open source project to do that. It seems pretty secure, but there are some concerns. For example, my biggest concern with zero tier is if you are tying into their infrastructure, you're not standing it up yourself, and someone breaks into their infrastructure, which is well put together, it's solid, there's no reason to think someone could. But for example, if they took it over, they could approve or add more devices into the zero tier network you built. Therefore, there is where the security risk is. It's a really solid product. I don't think there's any real issue from there. But it's obviously, that is a concern of them. So it's not a zero trust system. For example, there's no trust, third-party trust, I should say, between my OpenVPN I set up on my firewall and my laptop connecting to it. I only had to trust internally the certificates between here. There's not a third party brokering the connection. Therefore, there's no potential for a third party to break in, because it's only as a transport layer going across to all the endpoints. So from my house to my office, for example, yes, there's a lot of hops in between, but that's why it's an encrypted tunnel. Let's see. I use Datto at my old jobs and SolarWinds now. 1 billion% easier to use and more powerful out of the box. Datto just keeps sending you a million alerts and stupid crap. Well, all of them need tuning and things like that too. If you turn on all the checks in SolarWinds, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to spend a lot of time chasing ghosts and false positives. So you really have to do that. How much do I decide to pay myself? I don't know how I came up with that. I gave myself a raise last year. The first time I gave myself a raise in a long time. I don't know. I don't need much money, so I actually don't pay myself a whole lot. Do you loan to your business sometimes? In the very beginning, yes. They refer to them in the business world as a promissory note. You can promissory money to your business. So, and this frequently happens, like if you have some personal wealth, you dissipate very quickly when you're doing a business, your personal assets and wealth to prop up the business with hopes that the business will sometime be sustainable by which it can pay you back. So in the beginning, yes, I loaned the business a whole shit ton of money. Anymore, no, I don't anymore. But I've been in the business for 16 years. So the business doesn't need to be loaned money anymore. It's sustainable. So Yeah, well, we don't know for sure what the Tesla truck looks like. We have speculation what the Tesla truck looks like, but yes, the Tesla truck, and then we get the Rivian vehicles, which is a Detroit-based company coming up with some vehicles. They partnered with both Amazon and Ford Motor Company to produce, and it's going to be cool. Shareholder distribution, yes, that's different. That's I do get shareholder distribution as well. So at the end of the year, we sit down and figure out how much, well, there's two ways you could do it. Capital reinvestment into the company is some of it. So maybe the company needs certain things it needs to buy. So we'll do a capital reinvestment. It needed to buy me a Tesla this year. That was important. But other than that, yes, there are. You do distributions at the end of the year. So you can take what they refer to as like a draw or distribution out of the company, and that's taxed differently than your payroll. So you have your payroll, which is subject to normal payroll taxes, and your distribution has a different tax rate and carries over to your personal. And I have a meeting with my accountant next week to actually discuss that. That's next week's project. So it does happen. Can you get a percentage on a personal loan to the biz? Yes, you can charge your business interest on the money you loan it. That is legit. No, so the UniFi Dream Machine, I want to do a video about that. I seen Willie's, I watched some of Willie's video and I have a couple questions. I think he did a follow-up video I probably should watch first. And might message Willie on it. I don't think I'm going to buy one because I don't have a use for it. But if I'm not mistaken, in Willie's video, this was concerning. You have to register it with Ubiquiti to get it to work. That to me is concerning. I have not been a big fan of things like that require some type of registration to the company. And it's just because forever ago, I watched how many people got burned by the Sony deal. And yes, this dates me because I think Sony did this in 2005 or 6, forever ago, when the Sony had their music system. And Sony Music required that you register to unlock your DRM via the Sony system. But that also meant the only way you could do that is as long as the Sony system was up and running. And when Sony shut it down, you got locked out of there. Matter of fact, I believe this happened again with the Microsoft Zune, Z-U-N-E. I think their version 1 also couldn't be activated once they shut down the Zune 1 service. Therefore, all your stuff got locked in. So here you have a device that if either by them discontinuing your product or the fact that they may change a policy or be down for some other natural disaster, that a cloud server goes down or whatever, you have a device that you can't register. Now, once it's registered, I don't know that it needs to continuously phone home. That's the part I'm not clear at all about. So, but the fact that it seems to require that you recreate a Ubiquiti account in order to finish the setup process, that to me is not a good thing. That's I don't like any time that happens. That becomes, and granted, yes, someone's going to point out, but your phone is registered to Google. Well, it is, but it's also, but if Google goes out of business, I can guess I'll get another phone. I'll live with it for my phone because I don't know another way around it. So. Let's see. Would I put these weekly streams in a podcast version? I could, maybe. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough demand for it to me to set up and stand up a podcast. Thank you, Richard VD. Virtual high five for being an awesome YouTube educator. Thank you, Richard. I really appreciate that. It'll go in the beer fund. Wow, there is 198 concurrent viewers. That is awesome. Adam, I don't consider that a shady behavior. I consider it a behavior by which companies need to, it's a consumer behavior for sure. Either the large corporate companies do it for licensing reasons. Ubiquiti is undoubtedly doing it because they need to understand the use cases for their marketing team to figure out where these things are going and where they can focus their marketing. If I had to bet any money, that's what they're doing. It feels more like an all-in-one consumer product, I should say prosumer. It's not necessarily like the UniFi Dream Machine is not something you're putting in a grandma's house, but it's cool, it's sleek looking, and I think a lot of home users, it's probably a good product for them. But tracking what those home users are doing or having some information on those home users gives companies insight to change their product and focus them differently. Take it for what it's worth. I don't think it's shady. Shady is when you do it without telling anyone. When you tell people you're doing it, that's not shady. That's just part of the process that you've chose to purchase that product, and it does that. So it's a different animal there. I work in the business world. I understand how some of these things work and some of the thought process behind it. It's not that I'm trying to defend actions of a company. Lots of companies do. As a matter of fact, pretty much anything you go buy. I was looking at all the IoT crap that you can buy from, the hardware store, Lowe's or Home Depot, etc. And all these things, that's all they do is phone home to work. And anytime there's not a business model around that service, and I'll throw out, I kind of brought this up, and their name wasn't on the tip of my tongue at the time, but it is now, Open Mesh. People really wanted me to review the Open Mesh, but Tom, you get a free dashboard. Look at this. You buy this cool Wi-Fi device and you get a free dashboard. I'm like, that's not a sustainable business model. Oh, you get the free dashboard was the repeated thing people kept telling me. I'm like, yeah, it only works in that dashboard. Then Dado bought them and charged for the dashboard. Shocker. Do I watch YouTube myself? Do I have a favorite? I like to watch AVE blog, KBHD, Jerry Rig, everything. Probably the common YouTubers. Level 1 Techs is great. I'm trying to think of who else. I don't know. It'll dawn. You know what? Here, I can actually read this on there. 'Cause I think this has come up before, and I thought of making a list. I do watch, not a lot. I don't watch much TV, and I don't actually watch much YouTube either. Philip DeFranco. I like his shows pretty good. He's pretty cool. Who else do we have? John Green. John Green is great. I like his books. Graham Stephan. He's good. He's got some good finance videos and stuff like that. Engineering Explained. Definitely a fun channel. I love Engineering Explained. I'm looking at my feed, literally. Sometimes I watch Physics Girl. She's had a couple things. Rich Rebuilds, the Tesla guy. He's definitely pretty cool. Hot Ones. Shocker, right? I like Hot Ones. Who else is there? Live Overflow. He does all the hacking videos. Great. So definitely good there. Let's see. Free is the other effort. What's the size of my team? That's an interesting thing. So the way our team is a little bit different. So we have the employees that work here. So there's that staff. We've got 6 that work here. And then after that, 5, there's on our website. I don't always think about it real quick. But we have the people that work here. But then we have all the contractors we use. That's what makes my company able to pull off larger projects, is using contractors dynamically or partnering with other IT companies to get things done. That allows us to be more flexible and share resources with other companies, so you don't need to have a whole lot. So I don't have a massive team of people here to be able to do what we do. So that's kind of how that works here. I think maybe sometime I'll sit down and talk about the business structure a little bit more, about how that works, and be more concise about it. Let's see. Do you plan on switching Jellyfin from Plex when their client situation? I don't know what Jellyfin is. Never used it. Plex works. I have a lifetime thing for Plex Pass I bought forever ago when it was on sale, like a Black Friday sale, and I haven't done. One of those ain't broke, don't fix it. I know Plex is an open source and whatever. It's not something that's integrated in my life. More in fact, my wife uses it more than I do, and so do the kids. I don't really. I just don't watch a lot of TV, movies, or anything. So I'm pretty boring on that aspect of it. I spend a lot more time reading and doing stuff than I do watching TV and that. So. I assume Jellyfin's forked from MB and it's a Plex pair. Okay. Yeah, I watch, you can measure just a couple hours of what I watch in a maybe a month. I don't know. The only time I actually do something is I'll find some show I like Mr. Robot, and once the final season's out, I'll binge it. Silicon Valley, I liked it, I'll binge it. And then I don't watch TV again. It doesn't even get turned on. Well, my TV's always on because I got kids and a wife who watch TV, so... Got 2 wisdom teeth pulled and watching a live stream. Yay! So cool. That is not fun. I've lost several teeth. It's an unpleasant experience. Ponytail, 20 years probably at least. Yes. So we're not part of a BNI group. Someone says, thank you, awesome, Evo, that you have started an MSP and things are going well. So the reason, me and Brett talked about this, I think, and I'm going to do another marketing video coming up, but the only reason I'm not part of a BNI group is because we don't need to be, because our Chamber of Commerce has a networking group. That's the copy of BNI. Our chamber did something interesting that, the BNI people are not happy about. BNI people try to join the chamber, and then they get upset because they can't join the connection group because it goes against the BNI rules, but they don't like the fact that the chamber, as free with your membership, our chamber has a networking group. Actually, it has 2 of them because of the number of people in there. So they've got 2 chapters or 3. I don't know. I don't go to them. Brett does. I used to. At one time they had 3. I think they might be down to 2, but they're pretty big. There's like 20 people in them. So it's very much like BNI. If you're not familiar with the business networking groups where you have 1 person per category and you share leads between businesses. And our chamber offers it as a freebie with the chamber, which is just amazing. Matter of fact, it's also offered by some of the neighboring chambers of commerce. They started doing the same thing because they realized it got a lot of members together and generated value. So I know some BNI people grumble about it because they're paying chamber dues so they can be a member of the chamber, and then they're trying to decide if they want to keep paying their BNI dues because they're like, well, I got to pay BNI and the chamber. But BNI is a good service. Like if I didn't have the chamber offering it, I would probably do BNI as well. So hopefully that answers your question. I've heard good things about it. Like I was briefly in 2005 in a BNI group, and I dropped out of it because I didn't care for some of the people in the group. Let's see. Documentation. Did you come up with your own document templates for jobs or use a particular standard that was available? Mostly we have our own document standards that we did. We just came up with ones that fit what we do. And maybe at some point we'll sit down and release more of them. I have some of our templated stuff that I've thrown in my forums. So there's that. How did I look when I was a teen? Skinnier. I've lost some weight, but I got fat for a little while. So that's about it. Ticketing and support issues, we do all through email. And set up through a PSA. So maybe one day I'll change my mind on that, but for now, project management is a series of spreadsheets and tracking things, and then we invoice on the fly. I've talked about that before. So XCP-NG, if I'm using FreeNAS, software RAID is a backend storage. If I'm using a, what do you call it? If I'm using like my Dell servers have their own RAID arrays in it. It's just more convenient to load them on there for XCP-NG. So, about MSSP business in the private market, would GDPR a heightened awareness among general population? Do you see a future in offering a service to secure data and assure privacy in this market? I don't know. It's getting companies to buy in on it. The company that I talked about at the beginning of the video that has 52, I think it was, like just their external exposure, they just don't seem concerned. They wanted to put it on I sent them a strongly worded email about the CVEs I noticed just from an external scan with Shodan with them. And because we're just slightly engaging with them. We haven't got any agreements with this company yet. And we're just like, wow, like you guys are just hanging in the wind here. You haven't updated this in this long and this long. You really need this. And their reply was like, well, we'll look at this about 6 months down the road. I'm like, you have a long list of vulnerable stuff. And we fixed their immediate problem on and they wanted some assessments, and we just kind of general assessed them, and we're like, you are hanging in the wind here, buddy. So it's hard. It's whether or not these companies, it's risk mitigation. They may hear the word fine. They may understand that, yeah, we lose data, it'll be bad, could put us out of business, but we don't really want to spend 10 grand on fixing it or 15 grand on re-updating these servers to new versions. So is there a market? You got to find the right customer. There's a market for anything. You can find the right customer for it. So I don't know. 208 watching now. Awesome. Yep, we still use Invoice Ninja. Invoice Ninja's been great. Do you have purchasable launch system logo stickers? Not at the moment. We probably should look at that at some point. I've been thinking about redoing our swag store. It's on my roadmap to redo. We're using Teespring. It works. It's easy, but it's doesn't have a massive product offering. So we've been kind of looking at what do we do for a wider and broader product offering. So my Wazoo is broke just by changing VLAN. I don't know. Sounds like a firewall problem, a routing problem. What brings you joy outside of the IT realm? Probably my motorcycles. I think I've talked about this a couple times. What do I do when I'm not doing IT? I have a picture of it. So let me find it. It's easier to show you. Here. This is what Tom does when he's not doing IT work. He goes out in the woods and rides his motorcycles. My 1970, this is one of my I love classic motorcycles. This is my old 70s Honda. So there's me after I climbed up the top of this kind of cool hill and was watching the fall colors change and enjoying it outside. So, and when I'm not doing that, what else do I do? Somewhere there's another motorcycle. I like cars. I have a couple motorcycles. I'll try to find the other one. Do I have a picture of it somewhere? Or so many things. Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, you know what? MOTOR motorcycle. I just make sure there's nothing. I have some pictures of some client stuff. Normally I leave this pulled up, but I haven't purged all the client stuff yet. There we go. This is my other motorcycle that I go riding on. So there's that one. I've had a lot of motorcycles over time. But yeah, this is, where did I take it? Where's the other photo? I did see it. Oh, there we go. That's over in Detroit, riding around downtown Detroit where the bridge is. That bridge goes to Canada. So yeah, that's one of my outside of tech realm. Most of the time I'm spending in tech, so I actually don't do that often. You use TrueNAS services. Yes, we are a reseller officially. If you want to buy TrueNAS, you can buy one through us. Should I call my wife a hobby? I don't think that sounds right. Oh, I've owned all kinds of motorcycles. CR500. I owned a CB900. I've had a lot of them. So I've probably owned 40 motorcycles, if not more. I don't get out much, so. Oh, do I have super? Of course, I got Tux on there. So there's all the current. There's all my current stickers. I got to add more stickers. This is pretty new, so it doesn't have too many stickers on it yet. The Ninja's a 500. You can use Zabbix. The Zabbix is a plugin for there. I need to do a video on that specifically because Zabbix is how we monitor our pfSense boxes. It works great. It works really well. So, do you ride your motorcycle to clients? Oh yeah, whenever possible. I have rode motorcycles to clients a few times. That's one of the reasons I have a backpack for my laptop is because I ride a motorcycle to work or to clients. It's fun. Matter of fact, my motorcycle is quite loud, so because it's got a custom pipe on it and everything else. It's kind of fun because I drive such a quiet car now. I like getting on the motorcycle and getting stupid. The bike's been ported, jetted, Delvic pipe on there. I'm a gearhead, so I have built muscle cars and fun stuff like that. Matter of fact, see if I can find a picture of one of the last muscle cars. I built a few of them. It was my other hobby. Used to be building cars. Where is it at? I used to buy and sell a lot of vehicles. Where did they go? Oh, I only have a couple pictures of it. So this is one of the last cars I built. Custom truck I had done. There it is. So yeah, this was a fun project. It was pretty wild. I don't think I have any under the hood pictures of that one though. So that another hobby of mine was building cars and things like that. Yeah, S10 we actually broke the drive shaft in it twice because of how much torque we had. We had the 700R4 trans oh god, what was the stall converter set at? It's been that truck that was 2006. That's the last time I built any hot rods. So that was an 85. Oh yeah, no, that if I'm not mistaken, there was no door handles or anything on there. So it was a fun ride. It was wild. It broke those tires loose. I just roast the tires all over the place on there, and then it was a 350 crate motor with a 750 Edelbrock carb on there, aluminum heads. We've done so much work to it. The 700R4 with a turbo trans in it, and custom racing sprag shift kit. I think the stall was at like 3,500 on the stall converter. So it was definitely a good time. It may have ended up somewhere. The guy that bought it was from somewhere south, and I don't remember. They came to get it. So yeah, they're definitely fun. Yeah, the paint job was cinnamon pearl. So have I done one about going through the logs of PFSense? I mean, I don't know that. I guess I could. I don't know. They're pretty straightforward, so I haven't really spent too much time on it. So generally, if you're looking for things, you look not necessarily in the logs, but you go through, like, is it blocked by Suricata? And you have to do some fine tuning there. Or is it blocked by PF Blocker? And you got to add it to a whitelist. That's a little different than going through the firewall logs. So I guess it depends what you're looking for. I sometimes need a scenario by which to look for something to tell you how I've done that. Where's the other? Yeah, I thought I had another one somewhere. Oh, here. This is another truck I built. I don't have the finished picture though, but I have this picture. So this was that's my daughter, who's now 18, and she was my little helper when I was building this truck. This was a big full-size build. So that was another one. I got so many old pictures of stuff. I thought I had a good engine picture of that one. Guess not. Oh well. Somewhere. 2003. So if I type that in there, though, that's when I built that one, was 2003. In case you guys didn't notice, I keep an archive of everything I've ever taken a picture of. That's how I'm able to find all this crap. Oh, there you go. There. This was what the engine looked like. This was when it was almost finished. Gotta remember, this is 2003. I didn't have a camera phone to do this stuff, so it was kind of, it was taking pictures with the actual like digital cameras that I had at the time, which would have been like the Sony floppy disk camera, whatever I had in 2003, some really old camera system or something like that. So yeah. Anyways, we're getting way off topic here. So no thoughts on Disney? I don't watch anything Disney does. Not really. Of course, now they own Avengers, and I did watch Avengers, so I can't say nothing. I don't know. Oh, I guess they watched... Oh, crap. Disney they own Star Wars, too, so I guess I can't say I'm not a Disney person. I don't like anything that Disney made originally. How's that? I don't know. I don't really... Oh, this is Google Photos. I've uploaded all this to Google Photos. So yeah, that's Zabbix and PFSense. Yeah, I was talking to people at PFSense today, and that was a discussion I had that I'm probably going to do a Zabbix video on there. We just talking about different things. We're talking about Splunk and Zabbix. I'm not much on Splunk, but I use Zabbix for our own infrastructure monitoring for us and clients. So I may break down a video on Zabbix and PFSense and how they integrate together. It's really not too big of a deal to do. So Sony Mavica, oh yeah, people remember those cameras. I was an early adopter of those. So what do you use for your IT knowledge base? A wiki. Someone asked what OS. This is running Pop OS right now. So actually, hold on. Come on. Cool. So I'll show it right here. So this is Pop! OS. I have a video breaking down how things work, how you can manipulate things around in here, how you can see how the live stream's going here, how I zoom in and out of stuff. Here's what I SSH'd and proxied in, proxy chained and pivoted into my own internal network with this to see the this box here, the FreeNAS box that's running. So that. Oh, something else I'm going to talk about inside of FreeNAS when it comes to the plugins. A lot of people ask me about setting things static, and I always set reservations for everything. So that's why FreeNAS is sitting at .8, Plex is 7, SyncThing is 4, Transmission is at .6. These are all set to be DHCP'd, but I have pfSense handing out the addresses statically. This is one of those things that I've talked about network design. I like whatever your DHCP server is, if it's pfSense like it is at my house, I put everything in as a reservation. That way I know where everything is. This also, people are like, why don't you statically assign it? I'm like, well, because I like when it's reserved. That way if I ever have to change it, I only ever have to change it, and my entire map of it is all in one table inside of pfSense. So that's kind of my reasoning for why I do that. But it's also very helpful when you have to move things around. I just go and move an IP address around if I want to reshuffle things and restart those services, and they all move to where I want them to be. And once you set them all up, you're rarely doing it, but I don't have to go into each system and do it. Let's see. Let's see. Did you see Mandalorian? I don't know what that is. Netgear Orbi. What other ones do you use that multiple SIDs for use of VLANs? I didn't even know that Orbi supported it. I don't know any. I haven't really reviewed any of the other ones out there. I mean, I've seen and tested Cisco Meraki stuff and things like that, other commercial tools, and I've taken a look at my friends that use them. I have a friend that's all Datto. He likes it, but they're all go into, like, Datto is a channel partner only reseller for things. And matter of fact, we had a client that for a while, until we took them out, was running open mesh. And when the licenses came up, because they were Datto open mesh type things, they got rid of them and we put UniFi in for them. So we set them up and they worked. I didn't have a problem with them, and they supported VLANs. But there's not a lot of companies like Ubiquiti. Ubiquiti is kind of unique in the market that they make these products. I mean, someone said that TrendNet makes something. I have not tested. TrendNet to me just makes basic, inexpensive stuff that kind of works but has lackluster features, but is functional. But when it comes to devices that start supporting VLANs and have that extra support in the Wi-Fi units, the list starts narrowing down really quick. It's not something you're going to see as much in the consumer equipment at all. So, am I going to bank with Google? I already do. Sorry. I mean, I'm using Google Pay already, so in some ways, I guess you could say I do bank with them. Let's see what else we have here. Yeah, Pop! OS. Yeah, DHCP reservations are great. Is the co-managed IT stuff working well for you? Slowly but surely. That's been going well. We have a couple places on board. It's been fine-tuning how we want to do it. We realized reselling SolarWinds is a pain in the ass, so we decided that's not part of our co-managed offering now. So that's why the fine-tuning. We grabbed a few companies that we could be back and forth with, and we found what we liked and what we don't like. So we're working on some pitches around it, and actually get some meetings with some people in 2 weeks about expanding services around there. Still, the primary income for this business is not just MSP. We do project management and large-scale projects. That's where big money comes in for us, is on that. That's still, we love the managed services. We have, plenty of people on that, but it's still not the bulk of what we do. So we want to do some more co-managed stuff. We're working on fine-tuning that still. It's been going well, though. I mean, the clients are happy, we're happy, and everybody's making money, and people are getting service. So that works. It's not been a headache. That's the important part. Not been a headache. That's a real driving force for me. GrandStream, I've seen GrandStream, and it works. I don't hate it. We have clients using it, and they seem to like it. We didn't set it up for them. It was there. It was like that when we got there. Ain't broke, don't fix it. They had us change something on it, and it seemed reasonably easy to change. So we don't resell it, but it isn't. I don't have any reason not to like the product. What is your go-to for 2FA, for Windows 2FA? If it doesn't, Duo Security, if you're talking about like Windows RDP and things like that, Duo Security is probably one of the better ones out there for Windows. We've got some clients using that like on RDP and stuff. You like SolarWinds, don't like the support. You try another company; they'll disappoint you as well. TrendNet will support TrendNet with DDRT, VLANs, and VAPs. Okay, I didn't know they did it. So, do you think with all of the smart home products hitting the market, other manufacturers making a lot of effort to support those, make them support segmentation? But no. So here's the thing. The consumer, the average person, probably not watching this video at all or ever or cares about this. It's a bunch of magic boxes in their house that they have no concept that they should be separated in any way or be looked at in any other way than, hey, okay, magic box, please tell me what the weather is outside. That is how the majority of the consumer markets are, so there's not a big consumer push. Therefore, most of the stuff is just a race to the bottom dollar. How cheap can we make it? How inexpensive can we make it so consumers will buy it? And what fancy boxes can we make that consumers will find attractive and buy on a special and install in their house? And how can we charge them a monthly service for it? So I don't really think, any of you that are really in here talking about the USGs and all this other stuff and the firewalls and the access points and things like that, you don't represent the majority of the average consumer. You're someone who's taken the time to say, I'm going to be more informed about the products I have, what they're doing in my house. And, many of my tech friends are like this. This is stuff we talk about. This is not stuff that my wife talks about. The magic box she can ask the weather to works. As long as it works, she's happy. She's not worried about it being on a separate VLAN. So, yeah, it's so hard because Google has billions of dollars to throw at things like making Google talk to you in an intelligent way. Mycroft is trying to do this with a smaller team and less resources. So yeah, it's hard to get the whole, if you're not familiar with the Mycroft, it's kind of an open source competitor for like the Google Home in concept, but in reality, they're learning it's a really difficult thing to get going and make it happen. So, IoT is just like cloud. Well, IoT talks to the cloud systems. And when they're sold as a service, your refrigerator being connected to the internet so it knows how much things are in there and makes for a great episode of Silicon Valley is awesome. But the reality is, yeah, it's not a... it's good for the masses and consumers that want to consume that. For the people that are more security conscious and things like that, well, I laugh because my friend told me his wife brought home a Google Home Mini, and he's like, "Oh, we have words about this." He's like, "We're having a marriage discussion over this, that we do not want listening devices." She's like, "But I want it in a thing, and it's cool." And he's like, "No, we don't have listening devices in the house." My security friend is really upset that his wife brought one home. He's like, "We have to have words about this, honey." So it just comes down to whether you're targeting consumers or not. So there's talk of letting you host Microsoft backend yourself, which would be incredible. That way they never... Yeah, I mean, it's a cool concept, but it's hard to do. So hats off if they pull it off. I feel less the need to talk to devices. So I have a specific talk I did called Protecting the Digital You. I break down all my thoughts on this and processes and how I deal with things like that and how even in my own life I separate things from what I do or not do on Google, for example. You can say, oh my gosh, Tom, I can't believe you're dumping all your data, letting Google slurp it up with all those photos. I'm like, yeah, they have all my motorcycle photos. What are they going to do with it? Oh, no. I'm very conscious of what goes where. And I talk a lot about that. It's always about controlling the narrative of where things are going. That is the by which I govern this, so to speak. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about the narrative. How do I handle it? Where's it going? Being the one in control of all that. So that's my thoughts on some of that. Wow, I got a lot of messages. Turn your phone off for a little while and it just explodes. All right, cleared them all. Now they're all gone. Yeah. Well, and so here's the thing. Won't have listening device in your home. this can be turned off. When I don't want the listening device, I turn it off. When I go out in the woods on my 1972 Honda that has, well, no electronics. Matter of fact, it still has points. For those of you that are familiar with how the ignition systems works, it is a non-electronic ignition system. It is a magneto and point system. And if I leave this over there and I disappear somewhere, I am truly, well, as far as Google's concerned, I'm at home. Where I'm concerned, I'm not at home. So there's differences in the way you look at it. And like I say, if you turn that off, that's you were where you last were. So it's all in the way you look at it. So there is a discussion, and I talked about this on the FreeNAS beta because Mr. Moore spoke to this specifically. They backport all the security. So are they behind as far as major release of FreeBSD? Yes, but they're on par when it comes to security because they are backporting things in for the security. So that doesn't, just because, and this is the same thing, when you run Ubuntu, for example, let's say you're running a long-term support release of Ubuntu, they backport all the security. That's why it's called an LTS release, because they are long-term supporting it, meaning even though you do not have the latest kernel, the kernel you do have is receiving patches. The different services that are running are receiving patches. They do the same type of thing in the FreeBSD world. So for stability, they may not run bleeding edge when it comes to FreeBSD, but they are running it and patching backwards any security vulnerabilities that may come into the modules that it runs on. So even though they are not running the latest FreeBSD, that is a choice they make. And there's some discussion on, you can find it, matter of fact, look in just that beta discussion from my beta video. I leave a link to the forum post about it. And that is a long running, probably has way more comments on it now than a few days ago I did the video about that topic. So it's one of those things like, I don't really have any thoughts against it. It just is a thing that they're doing. I understand why they're doing it. They're not doing it just to make you angry. They do it to keep the project stable. So, possibly running a pfSense jail could be a headache. Why would you run pfSense in a jail? That seems like a bad idea. But I guess you could. I mean, I've seen people do all kinds of things. I prefer to run my firewall on native hardware until you're at the data center level where you run it maybe virtualized at very high end. For the most part, with all of our clients, we run the hardware on a physical piece of hardware. That's my preferred way to do it right now, as of November 2019. Have you tried out the hub function on Zen Orchestra? I think that's kind of neat. I've not actually done anything planned. I've seen it. It's a feature, but I haven't really dug into it much. I think it's cool that they added it. I like it because it's going to get more people using it. So, yes, I think it's a good thing. I just really haven't played with it much. I have the latest version. I do see it. FreeNAS over on RAID all day long. I always use FreeNAS definitely on RAID. I don't hate it. I just don't use it. Don't have a use case for that. I'm an open source guy, so on RAID's not 100% open source. Thoughts on Fortinet? I met some of the Fortinet people at IT Nation. We've got a client or two using their firewalls. It works. I don't know. Nothing about it was impressive at all. Matter of fact, I thought the logging on it was terrible. We were troubleshooting some problems with getting IPsec, I don't know what you want to call it, IPsec to work, and we were angry at FortiGate, who kept saying it was a pfSense problem, but we had great logs on the pfSense, and the Fortinet was dropping it, and it turns out that there was a support problem, and it turns out they had a flaw in the way they implemented it on Fortinets that was causing the drop, and they charged the client for the update because it was out of support, and you can't get an update on it unless you pay money. So screw you, Fortinet. That's my answer. At least give us a security fix. We're not even asking for support. We're asking that you implement the product right. It was a flaw in the way Fortinet implemented something that was causing the handshake to drop randomly. Fortinet had a fix for it, but they charged money for it, was my understanding. Client took care of, we said, you got to get this firewall updated. We found there's a bug. Here's the errata, but it won't let us download it. It's behind it, their thing. Anyways, so I'm not a big whatever. Do you invest in other guys' projects, open source or not? Yes. I've thrown money at projects. That's where sometimes, like, I got Tor stickers. I got Darknet Diary stickers. You know why? Because I'm throwing money at those people. I also have, what else do I throw money at? I'm a $20 a month. $20 a month, I think, goes to PF Blocker. I donate to that project. I've actually thrown larger sums of money at projects when they need stuff. So yes, that's something I definitely do. What are my thoughts on migration of existing FreeNAS systems to OpenZFS once it's production ready? I don't know. Don't have any thoughts on it. Don't have an opinion on that. Do I need one? Will it? I think they have an article on it, so you can help form an opinion. So, they have a whole clear up article so people can talk about this. I don't know. I'll have to read more about it. I don't have an opinion. I'll trust their judgment. How's that for an opinion? Here's the article on it, so we know. So this is the ZFS versus OpenZFS, how they differ, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? So as Reader Scribe pointed out, the rollout of ZFS, aka ZAL, is a hot topic. OpenZFS has been experiencing rapid development. So, yeah. Interesting, but I'm not of a deep opinion on it. I don't know. Sometimes some topics I don't have time for them all. Hey, Grayson, thank you very much for a $5 donation. Do you use Kali Linux for assessing your network security posture? Do you scan for vulnerabilities and do pen testing on your network? Yes, I do. I have used specifically not necessarily Kali Linux. I'm using OpenVAS, and I was using it built into Parrot. That's actually what got me into Parrot. The Kali Linux I had some trouble with it, and I was like, oh my god, this other Parrot project looks interesting. This is a long time ago, and that's what got me into Parrot Linux was the fact that OpenVAS was in there. So. How does one contact you for that angel investment funding? You fill out the contact form and compel me something so amazingly interesting I should fling money at it. There. But yeah, vulnerability assessment. So I'm always scanning and looking at my internal network. OpenVAS is kind of cool. You can set it up to be automated. I then have other people who, like Xavier, has taken a look and looked at things inside my network as well, and other security friends. I have them take a look at configuration files. So it's kind of not just throwing something at it. I have some people who look at the back end for me as well. But yeah, Kali is great for that. I haven't done a lot of Kali videos, or I don't know if I've done any, other than Kali Linux running on a Raspberry Pi. I think I did that, which is a pretty cool project. So yeah, it's definitely a thing. It's great. It's a great project. I encourage people to play around with it. Great for learning. It's free. It's open source. My son has started learning it, which has got me kind of excited. So, did you try Sophos XG? No, I have not tried or plan to try Sophos XG. Last time we looked at the Sophos, I hated the firewall interface, but I know it was an older model, so I don't know if it was because it was an older model or I just don't like their interface. Open vSwitch? Open vSwitch is, I don't know if that project's really getting updated anymore, so I don't have much of an opinion on it. Hey, awesome. Lawrence Systems, PF Blocker, and Darknet Diaries. Awesome. Those are all great places to support, me included. What's my solution for only small cameras? You know, I don't think the UniFi Protect is a bad solution if you only need a couple cameras and you don't plan to scale upwards. But we sell a lot of Synologies lately. My staff is contractors are installing a Synology right now as we speak, and that's going well. So, yeah, OpenVAS Greenbone is definitely pretty cool. Shinobi, no, tried it. We played with it. We thought it was cool. It's not something I could sell to customers. It's not finished. It's not a horrible project, but it's just not a finished product. So it's, like I said, it is what it is. I don't hate it. but I don't feel as though it's something we can at all give to our clients, like the average consumer. There's a ton of them out there. Digital Watchdog, Milestone, there's a bunch of them. We've been happy with because of the storage box and how simple the whole Synology platform is and how many cameras they support. It's been pretty easy to deploy those. Open source SDN solution. I guess it depends what type of SDN. Technically, zero tier is an open source SDN solution, but it depends. Software-defined networking is a really broad term. You start with what's your goal. Start with the goal, and then we can help solve whether or not there's an open source solution for what the goal is. Saying software-defined networking, technically, Ubiquiti's software-defined networking. It's software-defined VLANs. And technically, they're all software-defined anymore at some level. So you have to give me the specific ask of what you're looking for. If you mean a bonded WAN solution, I'm not aware of any tools that are open source that do WAN bonding. And that, of course, also requires the bonded connections to be ported over to another end, such as a data center. So it's more involved than just some type of magic where we take two different ISPs and bond the data together. Let's see. How is Detroit for hackers? Not as good as it could be. Security we have kind of a brain drain when it comes to that, has been my impression and my feeling. But if you're good at hacking, you can find yourself a job anywhere because you can work remotely. That happens there's a lot of people I know that are hackers that live in an area that do all their work remotely. They do 100% remote work, so it doesn't matter as much where they live. They just happen to live here in Detroit, but their job isn't Detroit-centric. CentOS versus Debian. CentOS is good. I have a lot of friends that run it. I don't have anything against it. I'm more familiar with the Debian world because I've been using Debian for 20 years. So I'm just more familiar with the commands rather than this. But I've fixed systems that run on CentOS. I don't have any problem with CentOS. Sometimes I have to muddle through something that may be different, like the location of where it stores some feature. But other than that, it's not a big deal. So it's nothing wrong with it. It's a solid product. I'm just less familiar. So my go-to is going to be load something that's Debian-based because I'm familiar with the apt command structure and where Debian saves everything. So it's been my go-to. But, so... I've done one. I just need to get done. I've got a whole video on the whole surveillance station. I just haven't done any project videos. That's on my to-do list. Duplicati, heard of it. I'm familiar. I suggested it because I know it exists, but I have never really used it because I don't have a use case for it. Hey, awesome. Glad you got your pfSense up and running with that. What are my thoughts on Proxmox? I have a video, Proxmox versus XCP-NG. Proxmox is a good solid project if you'd like to use it. I'm not familiar with it. I don't plan to familiarize myself with it. I have 0 clients running it. Therefore, I have no impetus to learn it. I don't think it's a bad project. I just don't use it. Debian SID with rolling releases in mind. Yeah, and like Grayson mentioned, Arch is another available option as well, too, so it works. Have I used Checkmark built on Nagios? No. Yeah, Jay's got some good. Matter of fact, I told Jay, I said, people get us your Proxmox videos. Go do some. Jay uses Proxmox in home and in production for his for work he does. So he has not just used it for a hobby, he's used it in production, and he loves it. So he's been a big fan of it. He knows how to operate it, and it does work well. He's also familiar with some of the Docker features that it has. So it's got all kinds of great, expanded features beyond just being a standard hypervisor. It's a good product. I use XCP-NG. It's what I like. Comes down to some opinions. XCP-NG is very scalable, a pretty solid system as well, especially when you combine it with Zen Orchestra, which at first some people took, especially if you're in a home lab, Proxmox might be better for you. If you're trying to run 700 VMs, you might want to be looking at the way Zen Orchestra handles it. So Zen Orchestra is really built, Zen Orchestra, and then of course Zen Server, XCP-NG server, specifically open source. It's built to replace Citrix, and Citrix was a company that was built to run data centers at large scale. So it has a different fundamental, which seems burdensome at the lower side of I want to run one stack and one server, and I have to run this weird separate VM that manages my hypervisor. That doesn't make any sense. It's not an integrated web interface. Yeah, that's true. Swing it all the way the other way. I have 700 VMs across all these clusters I need to manage. Oh, well, now you can orchestrate them through a really simple web interface. It only has to run on one piece of your infrastructure. So it's a scalability thing on different ends of the spectrum for larger deployments. We ourselves directly here do not do pen testing. This is one of those things. Yes, this is a service offered. You contact Xavier, Xavier's company that he owns, and he does that type of work. These are examples how we contract. Like I said at the beginning, we contract with people to get projects done. So someone needs an assessment, someone needs an AWS engineer, someone needs one of those services that we don't do in-house. We have partner companies that we refer to make the projects get done. I'm about to start working at an MSP. Any tips for someone who never worked in that type of environment? Have fun. Document. CYA, cover your own butt to make sure things are done right. Enjoy it. Get your learning hat on. I'd love to see a project SDN like to SDN DRT manage switches. I don't even know how to answer that as a question. I don't know. I mean, does DDRT run switches? I'm not aware. I've not touched a DDRT, OpenRT, Tomato project, I don't know, 10, 12 longer years since I've even looked at it. So I can't tell you anything about it. It's not on my radar to do anything about it either. It's one of those things, like, people ask me about it, but when pfSense runs on inexpensive hardware that's less than $200 if you bought Netgate, and even less, of course, if you have a computer laying around that you want to load it on, I can't figure out why I would want some other product besides it. I haven't, well, those ain't broke, don't fix it type things. So, hands-on lab, that's exciting. Having a lab at home, having access to a lab is huge. I recommend it to everyone. Matter of fact, you'd be surprised how many people I meet that their day job is truly large-scale enterprise that still have reasonable home labs because they test and deploy things. There's a huge crossover of it, and to me, some of the best technicians I meet are not the 9-to-5ers. They're the tinkerers who are always tinkering and playing with the stuff all the time. Those are some of the people. I look at my friend and what he does. He's a very scaled enterprise level job, and his home projects are equally cool. They're smaller scaled down for home, but he does run some really cool stuff, and that's where it's kind of fun. I don't have a go-to VPN. I guess I use PIA. And a NordVPN hack, I think I did a video on that already. So I'm pretty sure I did a VPN on NordVPN hack. I feel like I did. I know we talked about it, and it's really a shrug my shoulders type thing. It's not, it sucks, but it's not end of the world. People like losing their mind. This is the worst thing ever. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, there's a MediaWiki video. I don't know if I'm going to do another one. Nothing has really changed about the MediaWiki. It still is like the last video I did. So it's a newer version, but they didn't make any major changes, so it still looks like it did. So other than having it be a newer version, there's not a new reason to do a video. How many drives are in my FreeNAS box? Which one of my FreeNAS boxes? Or you want to talk about all of them? I don't know. Between all of them, there's like 20 hard drives, maybe more. I think there's, I don't know. I think I have to log in each one and count. I don't think about it much, honestly. There's enough storage. I look at how much storage there is, not how many hard drives there are. If there's not enough storage, then it's time to upgrade again. Yeah, if I was just trying to spin up a home lab and I didn't bother with I have a UniFi long range at home. If I needed more than one UniFi long range, I would probably spin something up or play with it. But the UniFi long range is cheap. It works. It's one of those, I don't need to put any more effort into it. That one behind you with the Ishtar case. I don't understand the question. If you look through, I've got all kinds of videos on UniFi and cabling. It's hard to do a lot of those because we go into places where there's security or compliance issues, so I can't just wander around with a camera. So we don't do a ton of those. It's hard to do. I mean, the problem with UniFi, and that's why I did that firewall comparison video. If you want to go with UniFi, does it work as a router? Oh yeah. Does it work because you want to set up advanced VPN? Bust out the command line. Start setting it up. So pfSense exposes a ton of features all through the UI. Is easy to manage. The UniFi is very basic, but easy to manage. You just can't do those advanced fancy things. So if you don't need those fancy things, then this is great. It's actually nice. It shows up in the dashboard. As soon as you start needing some of the advanced features, it's just missing. I don't know. So... no, the thing is with even a home NAS setup, and I don't care if it's a home NAS or a business NAS, the rules don't change. The rules are have a backup. So some people do this, and I kind of get it. They have a storage need that exceeds their budget. So they go, I have 13 terabytes of data I really need to store, but I don't have enough money to buy enough storage to place that in two places. So compromises are frequently made at home because there's only so much dollars to go around, and compromises, unfortunately, sometimes are made a business for exactly the same reason. I never build any amount of storage that I can't duplicate. I assess my life need for such data. If I think that data is important enough to store on there, I probably think it's important enough to be backed up. Therefore, I should build it double. Now, there's going to be some exceptions. If it's data I don't care about, if I'm just accumulating ISOs, lots and lots of ISOs, and I'm not as worried because I could always just download all the ISOs again, then yeah, maybe I won't back up that particular data. So, the 40 terabyte server that's at my house at the moment does not have redundancy at said house. But what is redundant is there's more than one server at my house, and now that there is redundancy between the data that I do care about, the non-ISO data. I haven't looked at the Untangle SD-WAN offering, so I don't have an opinion on it. No, that really wouldn't work the way you think it does, having a dual XCP-NG with FreeNAS virtual. That's not going to work the way you think. Nope, not likely to. Unless for some reason I start using Nagios or Checkmark, I'm not going to do a video on it. I'm using Zabbix, so I don't plan to do a video on the other competing products unless I start using them. If I start using them, then cool. pfSense with an LTE modem, I think you can, but yeah. Untangle is pretty simple, even though it is simple that UniFi. Okay. Lots of ISOs, exactly. So many ISOs. I mean, I use Transmission to download them all the latest ones as they come out, the whole series of them. I don't know where the legality is on any of that. You know what I will comment on, though, while we're sitting here? This has not broken the connection at all, has it? Nope. One thing about the FreeNAS, and this is what I am going to cover, even though this only has 8 gigs of RAM and is the dual, I got to say dual core, like in a sad undertone, because it is really, that's my only downside about this box. It's low wattage. There's your plus. The minus is the fact that it's dual core. But despite running all the things that we're running on here, we're not even using all the memory. So between doing stuff on Plex and watching all the videos of myself on Plex and downloading all the ISOs that it's downloading, we're hardly using any memory. It's not using a lot of processor. So there's probably at least some noise of network traffic. Not much right now. So partition. Lots of storage though. The purple pool. The purple Plex pool. purple sync thing pool, because it is running sync thing as well. So the transmission pool and the IO cage pool. So all the different pools that are inside of here. Oh, wait, derp. I forgot to press the button. Here, and I'll show this all over again. Yeah, this is the dual core one running at home. And like I said, it's not really using that much memory. We'll go over the memory report. So yeah, here's all the stuff that it's running. It really doesn't take much to run. It only has 8 gigs of RAM in it, but still has a big piece of the memory inactive. So it's still, you know, for the plugins I'm running, and it's running everything it's going to run. I've been testing this box because my review of it is going to be, hey, I'm using it. Hey, I've downloaded lots of ISOs on it. I've used my Plex Pass on it to watch myself on my TV, and it all works and actually performs. But of course, right away, I'm going to say it's not going to do Plex at 4K. That's just a fact. But it does 1080 fine. It doesn't even have any problem at all. As a matter of fact, there's no stutter or anything with the 1080. So the 1080 is working great. So let's go over the pools here. And it's got these the WD purple drives in it, and they're all working perfectly fine. No issues. All part of the purple pool. I like the box so far. It's I have no issues with it. It's working quite well. And man, that Plex stuff doesn't compress much, but the IO cage does. Look at the compression on IO cage. So there's all the jails. Also, there's a Tom's jail in here. And there's going to be some videos coming up on why there's a Tom jail in here, because it's how I'm running things, and I want to get better at IO cage and being able to explain it. I know how to use it, but I want to go in depth. So I'm going to do some in-depth videos specifically on running jails in IO cage. Specifically, it's going to be about running them in FreeNAS, but you can run these elsewhere. You can run these inside of really any BSD system. So definitely pretty cool. Yeah, get ISOs from Switzerland. Oh yes, I have an entire video of how to set up PIA internet and how to do the kill switch for your VPN on your PSNs and how to do the policy routing. So only transmission, the IP address internal that is assigned to transmission, may only go through said VPN with a kill switch just in case that VPN goes down. So yes. Yeah, so I'm going to cover that. I'm going to talk about it. It's a nice little box that's reasonably priced for FreeNAS. So you can motion storage between them running it that way, but when you start virtualizing the network stack for high IOPS, it's just going to fall apart on you. So you try to set up HA, you try to set up FreeNAS inside there, you try to do iSCSI, that's just not the way to do it. You want to build a separate, not related to the hypervisor SAN. So it's a separate box. For example, I reviewed the TrueNAS box. That's how you set up a proper SAN. The TrueNAS box has redundant dual failover motherboards, as in real HA, physical hardware HA that can fail over. That's the way you do it. HA failover, I have a video on this, how HA failover works, for example, on XCP-NG, and because it stops, you would end up corrupting everything while it passed it over to the other side. You would end up with a lot of problems. It's completely not the best way to run that. Yeah, collab with Linus, get a Storinator. One day. I wish the pfSense UI was like Ubiquity. I think it's fine the way it is, but yeah. Oh, what else we got here? I'm running out of steam. I gotta go home soon. I have a 2-hour live stream we did. We did a long time today. You guys want me to just keep talking? I actually don't have like another appointment to be at, so that's why I'm just babbling on. Thoughts on Duplicata? You keep asking, I keep saying. Post in my forums if you want to know more about it. The bear is sticky with money. Someone. Yes. I like that my humor got tweeted. All right. I need to do a collab with Craft Computing. I see him. There's someone. I follow him from time to time. He's got some good videos and things like that, so I want to do a video with him. I've actually talked with him, so that's definitely interesting. So, have you ever seen people do ZFS on Linux HA setup? I have not. I'm not familiar with it. So, yeah, I don't use Duplicati, so there's my thoughts on Duplicati. It exists. I'm aware of it. I don't have an interest in using it. I'm sure it's a great project. I see someone ask more than once now. Follow the policy writing guide. Yes, works good. Yes, Proxmox has some ZFS on Linux HA. And technically, you can do HA with FreeNAS on the back end of XCP-ng. This also comes down to design, where XCP-ng was designed more like VMware, where like, hey, you're going to load this and you're going to have a SAN in the back end. You're going to build this at scale. That's why I said Proxmox, if for smaller setups, is probably one, easier and maybe better for the home lab people. So I still like even at home, I prefer XCP-ng. I have a server like that at my house and it works great to run some of the different things I need to do. Had YouTubers as clients? That's a kind of answer. I have one, my cousin. I help my cousin out. So yes, that much. So I have one YouTuber I help out. My cousin has a channel called Gone to the Snow Dogs. Her channel's quite huge. So I have helped her out. Matter of fact, there's a video of me building a computer with my cousin. So yeah. So that's the one YouTuber I helped. I'm willing to help other YouTubers, but it's not my niche. I'm not running around advertising for it, and I'm not some big YouTuber myself. Therefore, I mean, I have more subscribers than the average, but it's not like they know me in some circles. And by the way, they're not here in Detroit. I have found a lack, unless I'm just unaware of them. Maybe there's some gaming YouTuber that I'm just familiar with. But when it comes to tech YouTubers, they're all in California and New York. That seems to be the two big hubs for them. Have a link to what video? Poof Sure is in Detroit. The Detroit Borg is in Detroit, but he's also a tech YouTuber, so who is is it a gaming YouTuber? Oh, he draws cartoons or something? What? I don't know who this person is. About they're from Detroit? I don't know. I'm looking in. I'm not a robot. Oh, I've already lost interest. Anyways, the video of you building a PC. If you search "Gone to the Snow Dogs computer," it's on my channel somewhere. Or computer builders. We don't do too many computer builds, so if you type in computer build, you'd probably find it. There's not a lot of them on there. No, if you want people to have filtering and not filtering on an Active Directory of 25 users, you're going to have to create very specific policies. Some people use different DNS than others. It doesn't have specific policies where you just check boxes. Yeah, if you type in Snow Dogs on my channel, it's got to be the only video I did with her as far as I know. I have no idea, but HA Lizard is a problem. I talk about that in my HA video because the problem with it is it has low IOPS. You can't to try to synchronize things without a central storage between two devices. The trade-off is you have to synchronize all the data in real time. So your hard drive speed becomes limited to your network interface speed between the two devices. So cool concept. There's actually a company called Scale something. They do the same thing. They kind of build these neat clusters. They have one they built out of Nux. That's a paid product, closed source commercial, but their secret sauce is essentially building it on in the same way HA Lizard is. The problem is, as soon as you need a lot of writes to the hard drive, it's really hard to keep up with all the writes because you have to then build it out differently, and at some point those compromises, they won't work for you. SnapRAID, nope, never used SnapRAID, no interest in it. Gigabit, at least if you have gigabit, you would start at the SG3100 and go up from there. depending on how all the stuff. So, yes, people love dogs. So, Mr. Snow, the Snow dogs are very popular. 863,000 people. My cousin's been doing it for a long time. She has a big audience, so she's cool. We get along. She's my person I can message and talk to about YouTube. If I have YouTube questions, but I don't usually. In the beginning I did. I had questions like, well, how does this work? Or how does that work? And she was very helpful. She's a great person. She runs a couple forums as well, helping creators. She's just an all-around good person. Very different genre, though. She's like, family type blog. I babble on about tech. And speaking of babbling on, I am waning down, in case you didn't know. I'm getting tired. I have been here since before 7 a.m., and now it's time to go to bed or, yeah, I need to go rest. I'm just worn out. I'm actually not too tired. It's more that exhaustion because I've been busy all day on the phone doing stuff and helping clients and solving problems and moving the business forward and all that fun stuff. So have fun. Thank you for everyone who joined us. There at one point was 200 of you, and I'm watching you fall off because I'm babbling on about nothing and getting way off topic. Please spend time asking questions in forums if you're looking for more concise answers. Sometimes those answers aren't concise because I've seen people asking some of the same things a couple times. I have not used it. Which no one brought up MikroTik this time, but no, I'm not using MikroTik either. So I don't use products so I don't always have an opinion on those products. Maybe, I wonder if that's a skill because I frequently say I don't have an opinion on that. I notice some people feel compelled to have an opinion on everything, whether it's tech or not tech. They just seem to feel compelled. I'm fine. Like, it seems to be an easy way for me to move on. I don't have an opinion on that thing. I don't use it. Therefore, here I'm going to the next thing. So anyways, have fun. Post in the forums. Talk to you later. Thank you all those that threw money at me, and have fun.